talking about the electric guitars and the brands that we should be... Well, it's holiday season. You know what that means. It means it's time for you and I to start talking about the electric guitars and the brands that you should be looking at this holiday season. Was that enough energy for you? Yeah, alright, look, before we get into it, I just want to let you guys know that this list is, well, it's not really a list, but we'll get to that. It's going to be about instruments in the, basically in the $100 to $500 range this time around, alright? We got one that kind of breaks that a little bit, but we'll explain that when we get to it. Please remember, as you're buying your first instrument, spend what you can afford. Try not to spend less, and don't overspend either. Okay? Don't break the bank, but make sure you spend what you can afford. The reason is that $125 guitar that you're looking at as a savings over the $200 budget you have. Well, the $200 guitar is going to be considerably better. That's just my opinion. And you're going to have a better time starting out with that one than the $125 guitar. You may actually have to take the $125 guitar and do a couple of things to it to make it playable. You don't want it to, right? So that's a general rule, okay? So, but it applies well to our first company, which is Glarry. I put Glarry on this list because Glarry is a company that has gotten popular because of their ability to sell a solid, functional electric guitar for less than $100. Now, this year being 2021, prices have gone up a little bit. They're starting at right around $96 for their first tier, their entry-level guitars, and then they have a second tier. The first tier, if that's all you can afford, by all means buy it. It's a solid, functional instrument that you can learn on. I suggest their first tier for people who just simply don't have the budget for anything else, and anybody who's buying for somebody else that may or may not have the commitment necessary to follow through. And no one wants to buy somebody a $500–600 guitar that ends up sitting in the closet. All right, so that's why I mentioned Glarry. Again, if you can afford the second tier of their instruments, take a look at those. Those are the ones with the Roman numeral 2 in the name. And yeah, but they have kits as well and everything, so you can get fully set up in one go. They are also a complete musical instrument company, so anything you want to play, wind instruments, you can find that beginner level stuff there. All right, now on to the second company. That's SQUIER. SQUIER is the most well-known brand of electric guitar on the planet. You can go anywhere on earth and you will look for a SQUIER electric guitar and you'll find one eventually. Okay, so there's that. Historically speaking, their lower level guitars haven't been all that great, but in the last couple of years, Fender as a company in general, with all their brands, has stepped up the quality level a whole lot. Now the SQUIER brand has several guitars in every level of their lineup, that so you can have a nice variety, and the price range stops at like $450. They might have a model for around $500 now because of this economy, but I was checking and it said $450. Okay, so that's the top of the line. So and a lot of people are talking about the ones near the top of the line being of similar and competitive quality to the guitars coming out of the Fender factories in Mexico and America. That's just based on what I've heard though. So, okay, now I do have a recommendation for that one. Okay, over on the Fender website itself, I found them selling AFFINITY Fender STRAT in cherry sunburst with a flame maple top with a humbucker single coil configuration for $300. That is awesome. The pickups have the right specs as far as I can tell. This should be a really good instrument right out of the box, and it's a stunner. So it's somebody who's getting this guitar for the holidays would have their mind blown. This is a great first guitar. Anyone who sees it's going to be impressed. Okay, but so that's SQUIER. Now another company that's really come up and changed the way things happen is Gibson, and I'm not talking about Gibson now because they're way up here, but Epiphone. Epiphone is they were a company on their own, so they have their own factory in China. They're owned by Gibson now. They make the Les Pauls, as everybody knows, and all the Gibson guitars, they make the lower end ones. These days, those guitars are of a really, really high quality, and the prices they've just expanded the lineup, and because of that, you can get really, really good guitars at really reasonable prices. They also have their own designs that are pretty cool, that are inexpensive. So they're definitely one to take a look at. If you're looking for something in an Epiphone, they currently this year just released the new Billy Joe Armstrong from Green Day, his signature guitar, as a lone signature guitar for I think $700, and a kit for $350. So you get a slightly different version of the guitar, but you get a full kit. It's the Billy Armstrong kit for $350, and it's being well reviewed. So that's something you should check out. If punk rock really isn't your thing, though, they also have the Slash kit as well, for right around the same price. Everyone loves Slash. If you want to play hard rock, blues, jazz, whatever, this is a kit that can do that for you. Now, the Slash kit has been around for a little while, and it had a bad rep for a while, but now the company's changed. So I don't see them selling that kit with the lower quality when they have a higher quality kits all over the place. You know what I mean? So I'm pretty sure the quality on that has gone up as well. So I feel confident recommending that to you as well. Please let me know if you buy this and you find out otherwise, okay? We need to let others know. Now, another Gibson company is Kramer. Kramer started out as a company that basically became famous because of Eddie Van Halen. All right. With the essence of his Frankenstrat, they boiled down to a guitar called the Beretta. Basically, one pickup, one volume knob, nothing else. But it is an Eddie Van Halen guitar. And if you're looking to play shred or anything like that, this is a great motivational tool for somebody who's just starting out. They have the models that are $600, $700, $800 with the Floyd Rose tremolo, like Eddie used to play. And then they have a base model, which is just under $200, with a more basic tremolo, but everything else is basically the same. It's a great starter guitar for somebody, especially somebody who's looking to do like 80s metal. Anyway, definitely check that one out. Now that's 4, all right? We've done 4, that's halfway, so we're going to do some honorable mentions now before we get into it. Guys, if you're enjoying yourself, how about smashing that like button? All right, every time you hit that like button, it helps me helps the algorithm put me out there for more people to see. And if you subscribe and ring the notification bell, then you'll know whenever we drop a new video, and I'll get to see you at the cave more often. All right, we both win, so come on. All right, now back to it. We're going to go to our first honorable mention. That's Harley Benton. Now, this is an honorable mention because, I mean, they are the YouTube darling for electric guitars, let's face it. I can talk about anything, so I'm not going to pick a guitar. I'm just going to say, if you're looking at Harley Bentons, if you're in the United States, check the shipping issues, because they have had a bit of an issue shipping to the United States. That I know. I know Europe is still great. At least it seems that way based on YouTube videos I watch. And I'm sure other countries are probably having similar issues. So what they're asking people to do from other countries that, you know, they got to cross the water, they're asking you to put in your order and then contact them so that they can make arrangements to make sure shipping is correct. Okay? But other than that, definitely, it doesn't matter how much money you want to spend for Harley Benton, in my opinion. You can spend $85, you can spend $600. They have guitars in the entire range, and they're all solid within their price range. And they're all usable instruments, in my opinion. I own 2, and they're B-stock instruments. I didn't pay $300 for both of them put together. And I love playing them. They're great guitars. I have no issues or complaints with either of them. They're actually better a lot of ways than most other guitars in the same price range, simply by having proper potentiometers that work instead of just act like on-off switches and things like that. So, in my opinion, you won't be disappointed by buying a Harley Benton. I don't suggest buying an amp unless you're certain that it's going to be able to work in your country, because you are shipping internationally, and their stock may not account for the different types of power supplies that other countries have. So there is that. But any other stuff, any accessories, anything, they're dirt cheap there. Buy the guitar, pick up the gig bag, pick up the stand, pick up the cord, the picks, all of it there. It's not really it shouldn't affect shipping any more than the guitar would, because the guitar is a big item. So, and everything you can buy there, you can buy ridiculously cheap compared to at least what I can get here in the United States. A guitar stand for me is $40. I bought one from them for $6 and change. How do you not do that? So yes, this is my personal experience of Harley Benton I'm talking about, and I hope you have the same experience. I am confident you will. Now that I've rambled about Harley Benton and waved their flag, by the way, no one is sponsoring this video, okay? I'm not getting paid to do any of this. Another one I got to talk about is Ibanez. I'm going to talk specifically about their Geo lineup, okay? This is their RG lineup that's been made in another factory and somewhere else, obviously. You know, it's outsourced and as cheaply as possible. I don't recommend their lowest priced instrument. Again, I'm going to go with above $200. I feel like $229 is like a sweet spot for quality and price with a lot of these like lower end instruments. So look around $250, $300, and you should be very happy, especially if you want to play metal and shredder stuff. The RG lineup is really good, really popular lineup. That's a mid-priced lineup, and the GRG is the entry-level version of that. So if you look around on those, even the lower-end RGs, okay, the lower-priced RG series, you could probably find one for less than $500. And you might find a used one for $300. So take a look around at those. Those are pretty solid. Okay. Now there's one guitar on here. There's one brand on here that I got to mention as a guitar, electric guitar and as an acoustic. All right. Growing up as a kid, everybody I was around who played guitar, if their first guitar was always an acoustic back then, and it was always a Yamaha, always. And that looks like it hasn't changed. They've been making acoustic guitars, really, really good ones, and selling them inexpensively for a long time. It's gotten to a point now where I checked Amazon about a month ago, and they had one for, it was like an Amazon Basics version. It was $150, but the specs on it were the equivalent of an instrument about $300. So if you are looking for an acoustic guitar, your first acoustic guitar, I would recommend a Yamaha. Hands down. I also recommend for the electric guitar, the Yamaha PACIFICA. This started out as a one guitar in a pack kind of thing for Yamaha decades ago, and now it's turned into a complete line of instruments that you can find all over the world. I've seen people with videos on YouTube in Bangladesh who have Yamaha PACIFICAs, which was impressive to me anyway. So it's a solid instrument with a long history. It's relatively inexpensive, and there's actually a little bit of a lineup now with these. You can get one that's in the kit, that's the least expensive one, and then they have a few other ones that they go up from there, and the configuration changes slightly. So this is basically a Strat style guitar with a humbucker single configuration that is a very, very solid instrument. And if you're someplace that maybe you don't have a big guitar store that carries all the big brands, maybe you got a guy who does Yamaha, which is actually a really good brand. So pick that up, okay? That's definitely a good choice, all right? Okay, now, number one on our list is actually one specific guitar by a brand, because this is a high-end brand, okay? Now, this instrument lists for $499. Currently, because of the economy in 2021, I'm finding it online for $600 to $649. When I check resources for pricing separately, magazine articles from within the last couple of months, that kind of thing, it seems like the list price is supposed to be $499. So that's why I put it on the list, because you might be able to still find it for $499. And you can always find a used one of these for about $300, and you would be ecstatic. Okay, this one, what I'm talking about is the PRS SE Standard 24. This is the no frills version of the SE, I believe it's the Special 24 or the Custom 24, and which is a gorgeous instrument. This one doesn't have the bells and whistles. It has all the functionality and everything. There's almost no functional difference between this one and the ones that are above it. It has all the same playability, functionality, and sound of a PRS that goes for much, much more money that's made here in the United States. So this to me is more of an instrument that you could actually claim to be a lifetime instrument, right? Like violin makers, right? Let's say back in the day, before electric guitars, you wanted an instrument, you had to have one made, and then learn how to play it, while someone made a high-end, high-quality version of that instrument for you, right? That your lifetime instrument, right? That's how you get something like a Stradivarius, okay? Electric guitars are like the same thing, but this is like a $600 guitar that can be one that you keep forever. So that's why it's on the list. Whatever you pick, I hope you pick well. I hope everything's good for you and you have a great holiday season. And don't forget, once you get the instrument, keep coming back. We got the lessons and all that stuff, and I'm glad to help anybody. So you've been awesome. I've been RJ. Thanks for coming. Take it easy.